Hey folks, Quill18 here, and welcome to some all-random, all-mid chaosness. As I said in my last League of Legends video, I have not been playing a whole lot of League lately, so a lot of the new features in the game are still extremely new to me. Like, did you know that they added this map called the Proving Ground, which is basically an all-random, all-mid map? Yeah! Unfortunately, it's not in the matchmaking pool yet, so you have to go and join through a custom game all the time, which always has a lot of issues because sometimes you have problems with levers or just, people organizing the games or whatever. And I would love a matchmaking. It doesn't have to be ranked or anything like that. Just give me an ability to quickly join these things and not deal with as many levers. But if you don't know, All Random All Mid is a map mode that came about. People have been doing this forever in every MOBA, and people would just say, listen. Everyone, we've got it set so that everyone gets a random hero or champion, and everyone has to go into the middle lane. No top lane, bottom lane nonsense, none of that. We are all going to go in the middle, and you're not allowed to go back to base. You can't go back to base to heal. You can't go back to base to buy items. The only time you can do that is when you die. That's the only time you're allowed to go back and then buy some items. So it's actually a lot of fun. I mean, it's just goofing off. It's just being silly. It's a great time. And Heroes of Newerth has added that mode as an official map mode with matchmaking and a custom map. And that's the thing. They eventually people were like, well, let's make these custom maps to support this sort of thing because it's a very common, very popular gameplay. It's silly and goofy and lightweight, and people are playing random characters, so they're only going to be so good. But what the hell, right? So they created the Proving Ground here in League of Legends, which is a single bridge, so you don't have to worry about people going off different directions. Furthermore, they tweaked the gameplay mode slightly. And that, first of all, just like with the Dominion map, you start at level 3 and you start with a little bit of extra gold. Some of the items are slightly different. Some of the summoner spells are slightly different. And everyone has this buff on. Increases mana regeneration, which is awfully nice because you can't go back to recharge. And it keeps the pace of the action a lot higher. You gain experience passively, which is one of the problems with the standard all-mid type of gameplay, is because the 5 of you are sharing all your experience points from the minion kills, you tend to level up really slowly. And both teams level up slowly, so it's fine, except it tends to mean the games last like an hour because it takes forever to get enough levels to really start to do things. So here, everyone on the team continuously gains experience points, so it keeps the pacing up. There's still a lot to be gained from properly last-hitting minions, but it becomes a lot more about the skirmish and the fighting and a lot of the sort of poking from a distance and keeping people low. Very, very potent. Anyway, the last thing that this buff does is reduce healing effects, because one of the things that people would do in those modes is like all 5 people would grab like summon or heal to keep everyone up, like, or anything with an aura of like health per 5 seconds, that sort of thing. It was kind of annoying and too static. So we're like, no, we're going to nerf the healing effects to a certain extent and balance that out. So this was actually one of my first. Let me check my items here. See, I started with the Tear the Goddess, and really, the mana regenerate on this map is so great that you don't really have to worry about taking that route. A Chalice still has some value, because especially early on, you could go down, and that really has a lot of value when your mana pool is small, like it is early on. So the Chalice has some value, but Tears and stuff, I don't know. So this is my first game, and like the first game, all random, what do I get? Heimerdinger. It was, of course, my favorite champion in the entire game because he's so damn sexy. Plus, he's actually a really good fit for the all-mid type of gameplay because his micro rockets are extremely good at poking. Right? They're long range. They do a good amount of damage. So you're trying to keep the enemy team low. And actually, the turrets do okay too. Obviously, the enemy champions can target down the turrets quite a bit. But it's really hard to farm the minions here because it's hard to get the last hits just because of how things work out, and the turrets can really help you get a lot more of those, and they also help you push down towers very, very fast when you've got the opportunity. And there are going to be team fights here. I mean, even if one team wins a team fight, they're all going to be very low, so when everyone reses, because people can't go back. Oh, that's the other thing that's changed on this map. You cannot heal in your fountain. It's literally just the fountain doesn't heal, and also once you leave your base, you can't return to buy. The shop just becomes disabled for you. So they enforced the all random, all mid standard rules that people just made up and actually turned it into actual gameplay limitations. So anyway, even after you lose a team fight, the other team is going to be really low. So usually when you come back, you're going to win a team fight as well. So there's going to be a lot of trading back and forth like that. And when... oh, poor Shaco. So when you win one of those encounters, and Shaco's really good in this map type too, those Jack-in-the-Boxes are very good. When you win one of those team fights, you hopefully want to be able to take out a tower if you can, and Heimer does a pretty good job at that. You know, he's not the best necessarily. Gragas is potentially one of the best people in this map mode. Actually, both teams here are pretty good. Blitz is really strong. Shaco's Jack-in-the-Boxes are pretty good, although usually like a melee type assassin person is not necessarily ideal here because you're not really going to get an ability to get in a one-on-one situation, so it's all about team fighting and AoE. But he's going to do okay. Xin, fine. Soraka, you'd think would do poorly because of the healing debuff, but her ability, her AoE damage ability is actually pretty potent here. Like, that's it. Between the healing debuff and the mana just all the time regenning buff, you might not think she's as good, but she actually does half decently. Ez, I think, would be fantastic. And a lot of people build themselves as AP characters because a lot of times you're not going to get the opportunity to get down a lot of auto attack damage. So, but if you've got spells that poke and spells that do AoE damage and scale up with ability power, you usually go there. So conversely, a lot of people tend to build a lot of magic resist at the same time. So great game mode for that though, but it does lead to some really interesting decisions that you have to make. Brilliant decisions. Blitz a little out. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that Blitzcrank was a little out of position there. I easily get blown up by Greg. I keep wanting to say Olaf, but Gragas' ultimate there, and yeah, you can see why he's so strong. The AoE is just so good. The range of his barrels is just so good. Excellent character. And I mean, if you could choose your character every time, then you know, this game mode would be entirely different, but it's not a choosing, it's a random. And every now and again you can get screwed. You might get one side that's, I don't know, like all melee with no poke, whereas the other side is all like long range AoE team fighting damage. It's conceivable. It usually balances out. And usually what happens, because there's no official matchmaking, a lot of people leave during champion select if they don't like who they have or what their team comp is, which is stupid. Now you can trade, and that's happened quite a bit. In fact, I know that I'm thinking about it, I may have actually gotten assigned Blitzcrank in this game, and I was like, oh, Blitzcrank is going to do fine. And then the guy with Heimerdinger, clicked the trade button on me. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll go ahead and take Heimer, that's fine. Any opportunity I can get to take Heimer is good. Well, Zin's actually doing stupendously well there. You can see a lot of the summoners here are taking the summoner spell called Barrier. And in fact, after this game, once I realized that this heal really doesn't do that much and clarity is not that needed, I ended up switching my pickups entirely. This is what I used to pick all the time in the standard all random, all middle games. But now that they're not as necessary, I'm not going to pick that. I'm going to pick Barrier. So Barrier is almost like a heal, but it's a temporary shield instead. And okay, that works fine. And then I think I ended up picking like Flash or something. Exhaust might have a good... or not Exhaust. Exhaust might be okay, but I think less so, again, because of the people who are threats are not the same. But Ignite is what I meant to say. Ignite probably has a decent amount of value. But I don't think you can go wrong with Barrier Flash for that survivability. And Ezreal Ultimate. I'd like to play Ezreal in one of these games. I don't usually play Ez. Actually, do I own Ez? That's a good question. I'm not entirely sure that I do, and I should check that out and maybe pick him up. So Canadian Riot is going to walk away here. There are a few little places like that where these health things spawn, but they don't give you a lot of health. I don't foresee him surviving the next encounter regardless. So arguably there might be some value in grabbing some health per 5 items, like I don't know, whatever, one of them of a million different ones, like a Warmog's armor maybe. But I think that healing effect is also nerfed by 20%. So there's some value, but the thing is, I don't think you're going to be sitting around long enough for the regen to ever really come into play. Probably better to just suck up the fact that you're going to die and just try to make yourself better offensively, or, you know, just go with deeper health pools or more armor or something like that, so when you come back to life with a full health pool, it'll last longer and more effectively than just regen will. But I don't know, what a great freaking game mode. You know what, I'm going to set this on fast forward. I mean, there's only so much you can say about the game itself. We're going to go on double speed here. And you can see this just sort of flow back and forth. There's not... Oh, Ezreal to the face. There's not as much as you can say about the actual strategy. Am I going to lose this game too? Like the last video I did, I lost. I don't want to lose 2 in a row. I'm only going to make 2 League of Legends videos today, so one of them's got to be a winner, but it's not looking great. Our gold is pretty even though, which is weird because they're 3 kills ahead. Maybe we've been more effective in getting the last hits. That's one of the things Heimer in like a normal game is so good at, is just getting those last hits. Oh, I shut down Akali. Go me. Don't miss the Heimer. Alright, slow it down again here. One of the things, the cooldown icons will probably be out of sync here, just because of the way the League of Legends replay system works. Which makes me want to complain about League of Legends again. Like, the game is so much fun, but the client is such garbage. I don't understand it. No built-in replays, no built-in pause function. The client, the fact that like the matchmaking client is not the same piece of software as the gameplay client, which means that every time you start a game, you've got to deal with these horrendous load times from people who have computers from 1985. Like, what? Come on. Everything else is just integrated. It's one program that does the same, so things get preloaded, or even if it doesn't get preloaded. Like, if I'm thinking... I'm not sure about Dota 2. But here's a Earth, for example, when you load the client, I mean, the client just loads right away, and you get the matchmaking. The first time you go into the game, your client has to load everything. But then, the second game, your stuff's already loaded, so it happens instantly, and it's much faster. And I think the same thing happens in Dota. You know, and because it's the same client, it has the opportunity to preload some of the things before the game even starts. Well, that's what happens in Han. When you queue, before it actually puts you in a queue, it loads all the game assets. So then when you go into matchmaking, it actually finds the game. At that point, all your stuff is already there, or most of the stuff anyway. There's some stuff that's maybe delayed until the last minute. But it makes the game load so much faster, and I don't understand how League of Legends, which is trillions of dollars, and the fact that it's been out for a couple of years, is so unwilling to make changes to the basic software. And I know it's scary, I'm a programmer. It is terrifying to make changes to something that already works. But come on! It's so garbagey right now. The load times are so annoying. It's like, that would be it. If proper replay function, the ability to pause in-game. God, that's annoying. Do I have any magic resist yet? No. That's part of the problem. Again, this was my first game of all random, all mid, so I hadn't learned all the things that, like, to be learned. If I did one of the later ones, you'd see me play a fairly different build, plus, you know, you get used to the ebb and flow of the game a lot more, and you're just playing more smartly. Here, I'm being carried by the fact that Heimerdinger is so good. And, wow, did that really not hit? And why are you playing around with an Oracles? I don't think people have been warding. There's no Shaco. That is actually a really weird item choice, Blitzcrank. I don't think I'm used to seeing people getting an Oracles in here, so it might have been his first game in this mode too. Oh yeah, he's got a heal as well, so I'm willing to bet there's something like that that's happened. Because I don't think a ward... I don't think there's any reason to put down a ward. I can see if you're up against a team with a Teemo, or an Evelyn or something like that, then it might be more worthwhile. Although, frankly, the map is so narrow, you're better off just getting pink wards and using them. Because you're going to die at some point, so you're going to lose your Oracles. There's no way to get around that. You're just going to die. Yeah, see, like right there. So, pink wards make sense. Oracles do not. Item-wise, the Aura items are always going to be stupendously good. Someone should be getting an Aegis every game. Someone should be getting... I still call it a Stark's Fervor, but it's not that anymore. It's the red flaggy thing that gives, like, lifesteal and attack speed. I can't open the shop, unfortunately. Maybe if I click on it, because if I hit P, it just pauses the game. No, I actually can't open the store. Well, that's too bad. Yeah, the red flaggy thing. The thing that used to be Stark's Fervor. What other items? Something like a Shurelya's might be good. I can't believe I like just finished the other video, and as soon as I closed it, I was like, Shurelya's! That's the name of the item I was trying to think of. Videos are hard, guys. What else might you want to get? I don't know. Should you get a Sunfire Cloak? Probably it's okay. Can you imagine if everyone on the team got one? I mean, I remember back in the day when Sunfire Cloaks stacked, and before they nerfed them. Can't remember how much damage per second did they do now. Do they do 40 now, or is it 40 before the nerf? I feel like it's 40 now, and it used to be like 60 or something like that. Like, or maybe it was 40, now it's 30, something along that line. So they nerfed the damage, and you could also used to be able to stack them. So you'd get like boots, and then like 5 Sunfire Cloaks, and doing like hundreds of points of damage per second in an AoE, and it was just like they're not great items, but when you start stacking them like that, and it used to be play Garen that way, and especially if you're up against a physical team, because the armor would really play in very well, and especially against a team with a lot of melee, because they'd have to get up close. It was insane, but it would still be good in this format if you stack them. And I believe I played a game on this day when I first started playing this. I played a game, I got Malphite, and I got the Sunfire Cloak. Oh, I got one as Aramis as well. Because I'm like, well, I'm going to be getting in the middle of things. I'm going to be playing the Initiator. I've got ways to close the distance. Malphite obviously has an amazing ultimate. I was like, yeah, sure, Sunfire Cloak. Plus, it's just a lot of fun to play. Nice little kills there, although I do go down, which is a darn shame. I don't know if you noticed me grabbing the health item in the middle of that fight. Having control over these is extremely powerful. One of the things I like about Shaco's in this game, and you know, you should just do that all the time, is placing the little jack-in-the-boxes on there, so whenever someone's coming to grab the health, not only do they get feared away from the health, but then they're getting hurt while they're already at low health. Teemo would also be a good pick for that. I'm trying to think, did I get a game as Teemo? No, I got one as Twitch, which was my first time playing Twitch since his new stealth redo. And in general, Twitch represents the sort of person I would not be good at playing. And it didn't go very well. It could have. There was so much potential with the Prey. Spray and Pray, that's what it's called. His ultimate there. There was some potential there, but I wasn't really the right person to take advantage of that, which was a damn shame. Oh, looks like I've picked up a Banshee's Veil, which... Now, Banshee's Veil doesn't actually generate the highest amount of magic resistance in the game, but it does give you some, plus the fact that it just eats one ability effectively turns into a fair amount of magic resistance, and especially in this sort of game with the poke that you get from Ezreal and stuff like that, being able to just soak one of those shots from time to time is a solid item. I really think that Banshee's Veil is an excellent, excellent choice in this game. Let's fast forward a little bit more, since I'm dead right now. Killing spree. Oh, Shaco getting nice kills there. I'm not sure how he's going to escape out of this. He does have his little blinky do. There we go. Yeah, pretty smart. Trying to engage on Gragas. I don't think it's going to work out. But a nice couple of swings. Good trade, I suppose. And that's a lot of this mode comes down to that trading because you don't have the regeneration. Trading, and I keep saying poking, but that's really what I mean, is that ability to trade damage and come out ahead is so powerful in here. Because it sets up kills, it denies farm, just really, really good. I'd like to play a game as Janna, I think, one day. I think that would be pretty fun. Misfortune probably does pretty well. She's the one that has, like, the bouncy shot, right? Actually, I think I'd like to play Sivir in this considerably. Yeah, Sivir would be really good. Her ultimate would actually do an excellent job in this game mode. Excellent job. If you don't know, her ultimate is an AoE buff to everyone nearby that increases the attack and movement speed. So basically, in this case, your entire team gets a huge attack and movement speed buff, and it lasts for a relatively long amount of time. It's not like a Shurelya's, which is like, what, 3 seconds of movement speed? Something pathetic like that? No, it's something like 6 seconds, 8 seconds? Which, that's a lot. That really feels like a really long duration buff. It might be longer than that. I wish I remembered these numbers off the top of my head. But I do not. Don't play enough League. I just know that it's good. Push R to win. Well, okay, Sivir's less of a push R to win than Ashe is. And oh my god, Ashe in this mode. I mean, her Q is obviously such incredible poke. The slow is also really powerful. But it's the R, the cooldown on her R arrow, her ultimate, the crystal arrow, is so short to start off with. And in this game mode, I'd focus on getting 40% cooldown reduction. And that's it. Your entire character becomes around your arrow. How are you possibly going to miss? They're all clumped up. They're all in one lane. It's perfect initiation. It's perfect killing. So good. But you can't pick and choose. And are there losers in this mode? Yeah. I suspect Eve is probably pretty bad in this mode. I mean, she's been improved. Eve is much better than she used to be. I used to make fun of Eve as, like, the worst possible character in the game. And really, there is no pro that would dispute it. Back then, I would make these videos and say that, and people would be like, "No, I like played Eve and I got like 20 kills." Like, yeah, Eve is really good against super bad people. Okay, always was, because super bad people can't deal with stealth. Super bad people can't deal with assassins that scale up very quickly, and that's it. She's very snowbally. If you don't get kills as Eve, then you suck, and you literally will do nothing for the rest of the game. If you get lots of kills as Eve, then you will just get more and more kills with Eve, and you'll just snowball, and the game will just completely, I don't know, be out of reach for the other team, especially if they're noobs that don't know how to counter stealth. But at the higher levels, she would easily be countered, and she was just a bad character, so people didn't usually play her. But that has changed since our redo, and she's actually, I see her played in high-level games. I don't know if she always will be, but right now she's pretty potent. Grab there and Gragas. Gragas is pretty tough, but you gotta grab who you gotta grab, right? Canadian Riot's gonna drop again. I keep saying it. It's easier to say than Zin, or Shin, or Kazin, or Bah. Xylophone. That's what I'm gonna call him. So, gold-wise, the game is pretty stable. I mean, the 2K at this point doesn't really mean much. Mostly it's going to come down to who can win an engagement and then push a little bit harder. It looks like we've just won this one. An ace by the all-powerful Heimerdinger. We're going to get an inhibitor. Now, taking out an inhibitor here is less deadly than it is in the normal mode because, yeah, you spawn super creeps, but there's only one lane of it. People are going to be... It's because the reason that they're so powerful and dangerous in the normal game is because people are stuck defending one lane from the super creeps while you push another lane, or you go get Baron or something like that. And that doesn't happen here. There's only the one lane. So, it's not quite as dangerous. But it still helps. I mean, what can you say, right? They're still going to help push. They're going to deal a little bit of extra damage. That being said, you can see here the swapping. You lose a team, you win a team fight, well, you can't heal, so you're probably going to lose the next one. So it's about minimizing these exchanges. Try to win a team fight while taking as little damage as possible. Meanwhile, oh, I finally got Zonia's. Meanwhile, wow, and I survived. That was like awesome Zonia's. I did die there, but still got some more stuff done. What was I saying? Oh yeah, and then when you lose a team fight, try to minimize how much they can accomplish with that. With your first guys at respawn, if you can hold them off and not let them take a tower, that's pretty good. If you can apply some splash damage while they're weakened from the last fight, that's really good. So it's a lot about flow, and I really enjoy it. Obviously, there's going to be a high kill count in every one of these games. You're never going to see one of these games end like 10-5 or something like that. Probably not. But that's okay. And the respawn time is really short. It's been reduced in this mode, which is wonderful. It's like the minion that way. So it's fast-paced, and it's fun, and it's non-stressful. Everyone's going to suck with people they don't know. Be upfront with your team. Like, if you've got someone you haven't played before, tell them that. Like, okay, guys, I haven't played this, First of all, does anyone want to swap? If not, just so you know. And people don't usually care. Anyone who's tryharding in this mode, just laugh at them, because it's ridiculous. It's not ranked, it's not whatever. I mean, no one wants to get, like, a one-sided kind of raffle stomp. But other than that, who cares? Anyway, that is it, folks. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys next time.